godlike game is a subgenre of simulation and strategy games, in which the player takes on the role of a powerful entity, often a deity, a supreme ruler, or a supernatural force, with control over a world, civilization, or ecosystem. The core gameplay usually involves managing resources, influencing inhabitants, making moral choices, and shaping the environment rather than directly controlling individual characters. Depending on your age, you will remember games like Populous, Black and White, Dungeon Keeper 1 and 2, Spore, or even the recent Royce 2. If you don't remember those games, I'd say you really should check them out. They are oldies but goldies of the games industry and hold a special place in my heart even to this day. In Plentiful, you are kind of a god. You're not a god that can create plagues and make volcanoes explode or any other natural disasters as such. Those things are still happening, but as RNG events within the game. But you're also not directly commanding your citizens or people, so you are some kind of middle entity. You can shape the world around you and make elevation changes to funnel water into a river or create a lake where you can place fish. Or you plant fruits to grow as food for your humans, which you either place on the map or let them increase their number the good old-fashioned way by building a cave and let them do their own thing. I've been contacted by Aubefeme, the solo developer behind the project, who asked if I wanted to check out his game. I happily agreed, as indie titles, and especially solo developers, have a special place in my heart, as they are mostly overlooked in the broader industry, providing some of the most creative and innovative gameplay. That being said, I didn't get any incentives to cover the game with a review, nor did I use any B-roll footage. I got access to the press kit provided, but only used footage from my own recording. I played the Steam demo for around 2.5 hours, and the following are my honest opinions on the game, which the game developer has not influenced in any way or form. You can also clearly see this is an early access game version, therefore keep in mind that everything I say might already be on the roadmap or already integrated but not released. Also, please take everything I say as my personal opinion. The base look of the game can be described as a mixture of voxel and polygon graphics. The landscape is hexagonal and you can move blocks around to shape the land to your liking. It's neat, it's tidy, it's a pretty game to look at. And even if some things are rough around the edges, like the visualization of the snakes, everything is easily viewable and understandable from the art style and the way it is presented. You can move your camera quickly around the map to discover the area, and you can start your adventure anywhere you like, while keeping in mind that there are some quest objectives to fulfill. It reminded me of games like Before We Leave and Minecraft for its visuals. There are multiple biomes currently available, where you are either playing in the desert, or on a group of islands, or in the highlands. At the top left, you have what looks to be a mobile phone to open your shop, where you can buy fruits and seeds as well as animals. In the right corner, you have an overview of the current season and its inhabitants. The gameplay is straightforward. Place a human on the map, provide him with enough food and nutrients to live, build a cave to hide and allow him to multiply, and protect them from RNG disasters like volcanic eruptions, bug plagues, or lightning storms. The game itself is divided into your typical yearly seasons, and your current selections of fruits and vegetables align with those seasons. Over the year, you must provide enough food, so you need to plant a variety of tree types as they bloom in the various seasons, and every season you can only plant one ground fruit to grow, for example carrots in spring, eggplants in summer, etc. Fish, ducks and rabbits seems to be in store for all seasons, but I think they also leave in the winter to be replaced next year. You can move the hexagon tiles with your mouse, and in the early stages this can feel a bit clunky, but you'll definitely get used to it. As of now, it seems that the game is supposed to slow you down on purpose, as you seem to be able to move only one block at a time, which, especially in the early stages, can throw you off if you want to move like 5 or 10 of them to form a small riverbank, but soon you come to accept this. You start to appreciate the slowness of the shaping of your world. But for that reason, I also only shaped smaller parts of the world, connecting lakes here and there and adding more landmass to certain areas to place trees. The developer said the weather system allows you to funnel water into areas and create lakes by this as well. But as there was enough water anyway and you could only move one block, I didn't try it in my short time with the game. Besides planting trees and wildlife for your humans, there's not much yet, but I've already discovered what seems to be gold in the highland areas, so I'm assuming there's much more to it than just this small selection of activities. I can also imagine a progression system, as currently you can do everything from the get-go based on the amount of cash you have. Speaking of cash, the more you grow your nature and the more interactions your humans have with your environment, the more money you seem to get. If, for example, through winter, nothing is happening and everyone is in their cave, your cash is also almost in freezing mode, no pun intended. As I mentioned, the game is set to release in September 2025, and it's clear that much of its work is still being done. A lot of the gameplay loop is already in great shape, and most of the improvements, in my point of view, have to do with the overall accessibility and quality of life elements while playing the game. Let me give you a few examples. The game is described as cozy godlike game. In my 2 hours-ish playing it, I was more stressed than cozy and relaxing. Of course, this can be attributed to not knowing the game and the need to learn its mechanics and gameplay. What I fear most was the lack of high-level oversight for what I've built. How healthy are my humans? I ended up hovering over all of them all the time, but in the lush trees and lakeside, I couldn't find them always. A hotkey that highlights all of them at once would be an easy fix for that. How many trees do I already have for each season? Do I have a shortage in spring or autumn? As of now, you have to count them, and although the trees' colors are, I think, based on the fruit colors, it's hard to keep track of them. And how many humans will one tree actually feed? Or how many fruits will fall from one tree? Without this information, maintaining a healthy and balanced ecosystem needs a piece of paper you have next to you while you play the game. Also, what is the efficiency of certain foods? Am I better off just planting carrots and eggplants all season, which I have to do manually every time, or do I opt in for trees that replenish each season automatically? Do I need all 3 types of food at all, as you have separate indicators for fruit, vegetables, and meat? And does an apple have more nutrition and make more stuff than an orange? What isn't clear yet is the sphere of influence of your inhabitants and the things you place. How far do they go to collect fruits fallen from a tree or pick up an egg from a duck? In one of my sessions, I had 2 areas built out due to water availability, and it seems that if a tree is placed too far, not every human goes for the food. Having a circle showing this while hovering above a human with a mouse could make this easier for planning. The same applies to trees as well. You plant a tree by placing a fruit and then a block on top of it. To grow the entire tree, all 6 attached blocks needs to be accessible as roots will take hold. Having a color indication while placing would make it easier to remember where you placed the last fruit, as you don't see it anymore once you put a block on top. If you plant 3 trees next to each other, you must never forget where you put them. You may open 3 holes at once, but by the time you put in your 3rd fruit, the first one is already eaten by a human, as you need to put a block on top of it to prevent that. Otherwise, it's just food for them to grab. Also, once you place anything from the shop, you cannot pick it up anymore, which can be really frustrating if you misplaced it by 1 tile and want to realign it. So in conclusion, I'd say the game lacks at the moment a high-level maintenance bar somewhere attached to the screen like any other city builder or strategy game. I'm unsure about the underlying programming, but knowing that you have 15 humans to feed and based on what you have planted, you have enough fruits every season would be a massive help. At some point, there's just a sound indicator that someone died. That's it. You have no idea where. The fact that you have to replace vegetables and animals regularly also puts pressure on me as a player. I was constantly doing something, either checking on everyone's health, placing duckweeds as those guys are really hungry, or realizing I didn't have enough trees for the summer fruit, so I planted some vegetables to cope with the missing food. Most strategy games like Anno, City Skylines, or even Pioneers of Pagonia get cozy when you know everything is fine. You can relax and watch the citizens do their thing, harvest some food, and collect metal ores for their production. I've never found the time to actually what everything and everyone is doing on the map, and I constantly had to look for things to manage. For me, Cozy games are made to look around and enjoy the water dripping from the mountain, forming a small river you have just created. Check out what your humans are doing, what kind of food they collect. They are not meant to stress you out, at least not constantly. Nevertheless, I really enjoyed the time I had with the game. And being a solo project, nothing will never be done perfectly and to everyone's liking. The graphical look and feel, the hexagon-shaped environment with the currently available terrain modification had a nice look and feel to it. If you improve the quality of life elements to reduce the stress during playtime, I can see this being a lovely little gem for people like me to play on any given day. I'd love to see a progression tree implemented where my humans may learn over time how to use tools to explore the environment. It would open up the gameplay to a progression sensation for the player where you can go from hunting small animals to maybe bigger ones with fire and wooden spears. The game's foundation indicates outstanding creativity and allows for a wide variety of gameplay. It was an honor and a pleasure to cover the game, and I can't wait to see what it looks like once it hits early access stage or even a 1.0 release. Shout out to Obeveme again for allowing me to roast and toast his work at his early stages without forcing any guidance or opinion. If you like what you saw, please head over to his Steam page, which I have linked below, and consider putting the game on your wishlist, as this helps developers like Obe massively to secure funding and more publicity.